Hi there, guys. Welcome back to the channel. We've just watched Liverpool and Man United end in a 0-0 draw, and here's our match reaction. Myself, Ryan and Bill are going to be joined today by a journalist and interviewer for the secret footballer, James Rowe. And if you're new to the channel, please subscribe, follow us on all the socials, and let us know your thoughts on the comments below. So, guys, it wasn't exactly the old-fashioned United and Liverpool rivalry or type of game that we've come to expect, was it? But it still had its moments. I mean, what did you think of that game, James? Did it sort of get you excited, or you sort of needed to wake yourself up at the end?
Well, it came in fits and starts, really. I thought there was a few chances for both sides, but I think it was clear United were hell-bent on not losing the game. And I think, you could see a draw coming a mile off, but, the chances for Fernandes and Pogba, and that kind of thing. And
Bill, if we come to you, I mean, how would you sort of summarise that game? Was it what you hoped, or?
Nah, another one of those games, mate, where the hype was too much for this game. It reminded me of, I think it was like Red Monday, if it was called, a couple of seasons ago, and Jose Mourinho basically shithoused his way to a 0-0 away at Anfield. So when he was Man United manager, so I don't think it was quite that today. I think James is right. I think United had chances near the end, and I think Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, I think he said before the game he wanted to attack and input their personality on the team. Whether that was kidology or not, I'm not sure, but it seemed to me that they just wanted to keep it solid for the first hour, 70 minutes, and then hit Liverpool on the break and create some chances. And, United easily could have won it in the last 20 minutes. But, this game should have been outside at half-time. Liverpool had a number of chances. Firmino in particular had a couple of chances. And if they had, Diogo Jota from the start, I think Liverpool would have won today. But, no, it wasn't a spectacle. I think both sides definitely missed the crowd today. It wasn't a classic, but I think there was both sides definitely had chances to win the game anyway.
Yeah, Anfield would have been bounced, wouldn't it, for that game if it had a full stadium there? It would have been a sight to behold, I think.
Yeah, definitely.
Ryan, how about yourself? What did you think before the game? How did you think the game lived up to what you were hoping for?
To be honest, I was a bit disappointed, really. I was expecting, obviously, a good derby, Man United, Liverpool. I was expecting some goals, and it's quite an important season for both teams, really, because Liverpool, if they win the title again, they can match Man United's 20 titles, can't they? And I suppose Man United, all of a sudden, haven't won a trophy since 2013. They can suddenly, do one better than Liverpool again and, have 21 titles in season 21. So you knew it was going to be a bit of a tight game. But I think the first half, Liverpool pretty much dominated, didn't really execute, didn't do anything exciting, up front. But Man United sort of gave them a lot of space. So I don't know if you could say Liverpool were outstanding or if Man United just gave it to them on a plate. But on the whole, I think Man United did sort of come back and they defended really well. But apart from some good shots and some good free kicks here and there, I'd say it was a pretty flat game, in my opinion.
Yeah, definitely. I think one key player worth discussing is the return of Thiago, and I think we'll come to you about this one, James, because there was moments there where he looked like a real magician. He was pulling the strings. He was sort of floated in and out of the game, didn't he? Sort of started strong, finished strong, had a bit in the middle where he sort of went missing a bit, but United couldn't get the ball off his feet, could they? When he had it, he sort of was dictating play.
He's a very clever player. A very, very clever player, and obviously he's spelled by Munich as well. I'll take a few listeners back to when I spoke to Jacob Mellis, and we spoke about his time representing England at youth international level, and I asked him about if there's any particular opponents he's faced at youth international level that really stood out for him, and he said even from a very young age, Thiago Alcantara really stood out. He's so quick, so diminutive, so full of speed of thought in particular to spray the ball around. And I think a good signing for Liverpool, as Bill rightly says, I think they missed Diogo Jota, obviously being injured, and it was a good signing from Wolves too. But, the players on show today, even when Cavani came on as a sub, Cavani is still someone that can make the difference. I thought, Rashford was a little bit careless in not giving the ball to Cavani when they had that breakaway towards the end. I think although Rashford is doing really, really well, it's these small, minute little details that kind of stop him from maybe going to the next level where potentially a Real Madrid or a Barcelona might look at him. But overall, I think a draw was, you could kind of see a draw was coming a mile off. But another player that stood out, well, I say stood out, but a player that I still think is very underrated is Fabinho. I remember watching him play for Monaco, and I remember Unai Emery, when he was manager of Arsenal, wanted Fabinho before he signed for Liverpool. And I think there's kind of one that got away there. But going back to Thiago Alcantara, he's a very good player. And the speed of thought is something which stands out for me, and how quickly he can spray the ball around.
Yeah, I think he was. I think he just controlled the game for Liverpool in the first half, and all the moves were going through him. But Liverpool just didn't have their shooting boots on, and there was a few chances where it was the final shot or the final ball wasn't there, which it has been last couple of seasons, and the front three have been amazing for Liverpool. But this season, I don't think they've quite fired as they usually do, and today was an example of that. I mean, Firmino, first few minutes, there was a chance where he should have played in Andy Robertson, but he blazed it over, and then there was another one where I think Robertson himself had a shot that went over, and then I managed to get some blocks in. So I don't think Firmino had his shooting boots on today, and I think if Jota had any of those chances, I think Liverpool would have been ahead at half time.
Yeah, that definitely seems to be the thing that Liverpool are missing this year, isn't it? It's goals. They sort of can dominate possession like they did today. They can pretty much set up shop in their opponent's final third. They can have players like Thiago that can spray the ball around and unlock teams, but when it comes to that final sort of shot, they're just lacking, aren't they? I think they would, without, like you said, Jota, Bill, maybe that's where they need to recruit if they want to continue their unbelievable run. I think they're definitely lacking a lot of goals. And that's the thing, like James said, obviously, as well, United clearly were happy to play on the draw today, but they were dangerous in times, weren't they? There was a couple of chances, and some of the best chances in the game might have been that Rashford chance nearly at the end, where he could have played in Cavani, or that was an offside section with Rashford in the last sort of 10 minutes.
Bruno's free
kick.
Effort. No, his effort in the box, that was saved by Alisson.
Oh, right, yeah. And obviously he had his free kick that was close as well, wasn't it? I mean, in chances, Ryan, what stood out to you today is what chances would some of the teams have missed that, could have really won them the game?
Yeah, I think you're right. I think it was more Bruno shots, and especially when Luke Shaw did that fantastic cross. He could have executed then, and obviously there was the free kicks. But that, again, for me, there was only sort of pockets of opportunity. I think there was some counter-attacks, there was some good defending, but there was nothing really that I didn't really feel, for me personally, I didn't feel any sort of danger watching the game. There were some near misses, but I mean, what did you think, Lou? I mean, what was your thoughts on the game?
Yeah, I think I do feel like United had the better chances, the more ruthless chances, should we say. That Alisson was top notch again with his decision making, some great sweeper keeper moments, where he cut off Rashford. So I think United will probably be more disappointed that they didn't take their chances, and I don't think Liverpool sort of created as many clear-cut chances. They were a little bit like Arsenal in a way. We've been in, prior to the last 4 or 5 games, where you have lots of possession, you spray it around, you can sort of get to the final third, and you just can't do anything with it. So I definitely think United would have been, ruined their missed chances a little bit more. But yeah, I mean, I guess overall, like we've all kind of said, I think United clearly played for the draw, hoping to hit on the break. I mean, what would you say, James? Who would be the happier of the two teams for the result today, given that it was obviously an important game for the top sort of position in the league?
I think Manchester United will certainly be happiest, but I think a lot of people forget how long a football season actually is, and for people making, predictions with half a season to go, and considering the results we've seen at different stages of the season, I think it's difficult to predict even in unprecedented times. But I think United will be pleased to maintain their away form in particular, And as I say, it's a long old season. I think there's many a twist and turn ahead. I don't think it's something which you can predict now, but I do believe that United will be the happier of the two in that respect.
And Bill, did you see anything from either teams that would sort of, give you confidence in title winning sort of contention today? Or do you think both teams were a little bit flat? And like James said, it's still too early to see if it's going to be one of these two that are going to finish strong at the end of the year?
Yeah, I still think both teams are in the running, definitely. I don't think either side played their best today. But, I think United's defending, I think, was something to be applauded. I thought, Maguire and Lindelof, they've been criticised at times, and rightly so. But I think the amount of good blocks they put in today, and particularly in the second half, they restricted Liverpool to very few chances. So, I don't think either side were at their fluent best. But sometimes if you can't win a game, don't lose it, bury down the hatches, we'll take a point and we'll move on. And especially United being the away side, they're top of the league. I don't think they really needed to risk losing a point. So if anything, it was Liverpool that needed to step up the play in the second half, and it didn't quite happen for them. So it wasn't the best by either team, but they're both still in the running. And as James said, it's a long season. You think of Liverpool's front three, they haven't really had a proper break for a couple of years, especially with internationals and stuff as well. They must be absolutely exhausted. So, and the likes of Thiago, he hasn't played a huge amount of football. Shaqiri hasn't started for Liverpool for ages. So, and plus, two of their better midfielders were playing at centre back today, Henderson and Fabinho. So, I think that all sort of meant that Liverpool won at their fluent best, and United, they had chances on the counter attack, but not as much as usual. So it was just one of those games, I'd say.
And obviously, you mentioned there, we've kind of covered some of the attacking prowess of both teams. But I mean, if we talk about the defensive aspect of the game, would it be fair to say that United grew into it? I sort of felt like, we had some great sort of defensive performances, as James said, from Fabinho. And I think Andy Robertson did a great job of out-muscling. I can't remember if it was Pogba or Rashford down on that sort of wing-back position at one sort of chance. United sort of seemed a little bit hesitant to press at the start of the game. They sort of let Liverpool take up shop and, have a lot of possession in their final third. And then obviously you said, Bill, like Lindelof and Maguire put in some good things. So is it sort of fair to say United sort of from a defensive perspective grew into it? They got a bit of confidence when Liverpool couldn't sort of put it in the net?
Yeah, definitely. I think Liverpool in the first half absolutely dominated. They had 73% position. I think they had 15 touches in United's area. And it was like a training session of just attack after attack. But then they grew into it in the second half, and they got up the pitch and looked more of a threat with the chances, as we've mentioned. So I think that if Liverpool were going to win today, they should have won it in the first half with the chances they had. So and then United just grew in confidence from there, create some chances. He could have nicked it at the end, but 0-0. I don't think they'll have too many complaints about it.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I think we've kind of sort of summarised the most sort of important part of this game. I guess going forward, I mean, what do you think both teams have to do, if we come to you, Ryan, to kind of maintain a challenge for this season? So based on what you saw today, what would you say that both teams need to do to sort of, continue strong and hopefully mount a title challenge all the way to the end of the season? Like James said, there's a long way to go yet, and a lot of teams that haven't been consistent, and obviously United in particular haven't necessarily been consistent in the bigger games against the bigger teams in recent years. So, if we go to Liverpool first and then United, what do you think both teams have to do to kind of hopefully lift the trophy at the end of the year?
I think Liverpool have got a good chance. I think they both do, really. I think they've just got to sort of maximise their potential, really, so that we know that they can attack, we know they can offend, but they don't seem to make the most of the chances at the moment. And I think obviously they've got some players on, that need to come back from injury as well, which will make a difference. I think Man United, I think obviously they're getting better defensively, but I just think, from their perspective, they just need to adapt a little bit more. I think with Man United, they need to adapt around certain clubs like Liverpool. Playing from the back isn't necessarily the best approach. So I think they just need to tweak their tactics, maybe some formations. But I think Liverpool have got a stronger chance. I think Man United just need to get a little bit more confidence. But I think, like you said, James, it's just so early days. I mean, let's face it, it was only about a month ago when we were saying that Tottenham were going to win the league and things like that. So that could still be a possibility, but we just do not know. A week ago, we were saying Arsenal were going to get relegated. So.
Well, thanks for watching, guys. If you are new to the channel, please subscribe, follow us on all our socials, and let us know your thoughts in the comments below. And we'll hope to see you on the next video.